Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nicoll.
Thank you so much for dropping in today. This is series 14, if you can believe it. It is September 8th, 2025. And I just want to say hello to the listeners that have been following along and those that are new. So thank you for joining us today. Now, I came up with this series while I was jogging because I was like, sometimes motivation's not that helpful. Sometimes motivation not that helpful. It's not easy sometimes to get out of bed and do what you want to do. So I wanted to hear from others to see how they keep the motivation high. In this series, we dive into the minds of athletes, Olympians, Paralympians, and so much more to see how their mindset works. How do they get through a tough workout and what motivates them? Where do they find motivation? In episode 121, we heard from Abby Tripp and how she got we got her Paralympic experience. She's been to 3 Paralympics in swimming, and we got to just listen on how she motivates. So that was a great episode. Let's drop into this episode and let me introduce you the guest that we have today. This guest grew up in Quebec City, skiing from the age of 2.5. That was earlier than me, I think. On the same hill that his family frequented. He followed in the footsteps of his older brother, igniting his Olympic dream after seeing Jean-Luc Brassard win gold. Now, by 2008-2009, he was named FIS Rookie of the Year in moguls and quickly earned World Cup podiums. He's no stranger to getting back after injury. He overcame 2 serious shoulder injuries within just a few seasons. His 2014 season went well, to say the least, coming home with a World Championship silver in dual moguls and top 3 overall World Cup moguls finish during the Canadian sweep on the podium. Despite suffering an ACL tear just 1 month before the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics, he showed up, earned a spot in the finals, and topped his career that included 13 World Cup podiums and 2 World Cup victories. These days, you'll find him passing on that fierce drive as he is now the head coach of Canada's Next Gen Mogul squad. He advocates for sustainability and he's shaping the future for next Canadian champions on the slopes. This son, brother, friend, Olympian, world champ medalist, chair of the Canadian Olympic Committee Athletes Commission is about to drop in. I'm so happy to welcome Philippe Marquis. Hi, how's it going?
Hi, that was an amazing bio. Too long. Now I'm just a washed-up mogul skier that just
No,
like
you're
to do
not.
sport and be among other athletes and inspiring people.
Oh my gosh, you've
But
done so much, you have to own that. And sometimes it's nice to hear it all in one space, which I think is really cool. I'm proud of you.
thank you. No, nice intro. That's awesome. And I'm glad you had Abby on the previous one. She's a
Yeah,
fantastic
it was
athlete.
really cool. I think getting different perspectives from different athletes and how they motivate. I am maybe most excited about this series. So let's drop in. Are you ready for the 10 rapid fire questions that you've never seen before and that they're never rapid?
Ready.
Okay. This one's easy. Where in the world are you today?
I'm actually home, which is actually it's been pretty rare these days. But I'm home in Stoneham, just north of Quebec City, where I've got a beautiful little charming place just by the mountain actually where I grew up skiing.
I'm gonna add in an extra one there. There'll be 11 rapid fire questions because you brought up your home. Now, are you a hands-on renovator or do that for the other people to do?
No, other people. I
Okay.
wish I could do more, but I'm leaving some of the stuff to me as well. Like when I'm
Okay.
home, it's something that I like to do. I like to cook. I like to do some renovation just to learn, but also take my head just away from just the training when I'm coaching with the athletes, and just again, that's my safe place. That's where I get my brain to disconnect.
Okay, cool. Congrats on the house. I think it's awesome. Number 2, if you could ski anywhere in the world tomorrow. So September
Tomorrow,
9th.
yeah. So I gotta go South Hemisphere, and I would probably go. Shoot, well, it's funny timing. I probably just go to Chile, which I'm actually going on Thursday, so in a
Okay.
couple of days. But I just get there faster.
I just saw Mikey Cicerelli, and he was just in New Zealand. No, sorry, he was down south. I think he was in Chile too, and I think he said it was really good. No,
Yeah,
maybe
it
he was
looks
in New
good. Looks
Zealand.
promising.
Maybe he was in New Zealand. Never mind. Chile, I've always loved it. It's like, do you go to Valley Nevado?
Yeah, Mogul team. We've been to Valley Nevado the last couple of years. We've been down south to a place a bit more remote that people don't tend to know as well. It's
Mm,
called Coralco.
okay.
Yeah, just more a little bit more where there's volcanoes and yeah, just way down. It's been good as well. The season lasts a little longer because it's souter.
Okay.
But Valley Nevado just super convenient. Venue's
So
great.
high. So
So
high.
I, but close to Santiago as well. So if you have
Yeah.
like any any stuff that happened with the team or
Oh, yeah.
you want to be in and out pretty quickly, it's super convenient, very easy.
Cool. That fun fact. Valley Nevada is where I was like, I want to go to the Olympics because we had a World
Oh,
Cup there,
nice.
and everyone was going for Salt Lake, and I was like, well, I want to go.
It's
Let's go.
sick. It's so beautiful and it's yeah, you're very immersed. When you're there, you're just there for skiing. There's nothing else to do. You
So
live out there.
remote.
It's so remote. Like internet barely works. So I mean, this
Yeah.
podcast would have been hard in a couple of
In a
days.
couple days, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. What's the best coaching advice you've ever given in just one sentence?
Oof. Oh God. As simple as it is, I think in a sport where you need performance men and you know too well about that with snowboarding, uh, yeah, simple as trust yourself. I know.
Ah,
Oftentimes people get scared and then we have self-doubt. It's typical for athletes, and especially when you don't rely on other teammates around you like a team sport.
yeah.
Now or never, it's kind of like you have to do your best when it counts, and it's so easy to get sucked into like a dark place and forget everything you've done to that led up to that moment. So as simple as trust yourself.
Very, very cool. I like that. This one's easy. What's your favorite food? Is it easy? I don't know.
Weird. I think I'm a comfort food kind of guy because my mom cooks very well. So I grew up with great food, but I think my little go-to is sushi.
Mm,
Japanese food in general,
so good.
love it anytime, anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Number 5. What's harder, competing in moguls or coaching the next generation?
Coaching, coaching is
Coaching?
harder because you don't have control of the outcome at the end of
Yeah.
the day. Like
Yeah.
you can do everything well, you can coach them very well. I think it's important as well, like performance aside, to make sure they're just good people. But I think it's hard to, especially I'm normally at the top of the course with them. It's hard to kind of like when you hear the 3, 2, 1 go and they go and you barely see what they're doing and
Yeah.
it's all in their hands, and I think it's very stressful. When I
No
was skiing, I
doubt.
felt like I could control and deal with my own emotion and the outcome and of my
Yeah.
performance, good or bad. But now it's kind of like, we'll see what happened, and then
Hold your
from
breath.
there,
Are you holding your breath at the top?
oh no, no, not to this point. But I mean, they go and then you kind of have to deal with their emotion after that, how they're
Totally.
going to react. And I
Yeah.
always say, like, on any given day of competition, it's impossible to conclude the day where you're 100% happy, because whether
Mhm.
we go out there and we're, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7, 8 athletes and we all go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's
Mhm.
still going to be that one person that's last of the team. But it is
No
what it
doubt.
is. So there's always going to be some success and obviously times to pick up athletes and get them back towards the trust yourself
I
process.
I can't wait to talk to you more about it. Number 6, have you ever tried snowboarding?
Only once, and that's something I'd like to pick up again for sure, because you get to a point where I've skied for over 30 years of my life, and
Yeah.
a lot of them was mogul specific,
Mhm.
but I've opened up myself to a lot more like backcountry or when I'm on resort racing skis, and I enjoy the variety of it and the adventure, the exploration of new aspect of, I guess, my sport in general, which is more skiing. So snowboarding, telemark, like those are a couple of things that I want to
Oh,
start doing a bit more
I
in the
want to try
future.
telemarking too. They're not
That,
easy to come by.
no, that's true. I mean, I think you have to go to really specific shop and
Yeah,
specialize, but that would be a good, especially as we grow older, it's a good workout as
I
well.
know, no doubt, no
Yeah,
doubt.
always doing
That's on
lounge.
my
Yeah.
on my list to try. Number 7. Now this should be interesting. Which Olympic moment gave you the goosebumps that wasn't your own?
Oh God, there's been a few, but I think the one most epic moment might have been the gold medal match of the women hockey game at Sochi 2014, where the woman won 2-1. And at that time, I knew pretty well a couple of the players, Marie-Philippe Poulin being from
Yeah,
Quebec as well. And she scored that golden goal. And then there was maybe you remember the event, but the American were up and they went for an empty net and missed by little. Canada tied it. It's just this crazy story.
yeah.
And yeah, knowing some of the players and what they were going through and being in the stands, that was definitely a pretty cool, like goosebump chilling moment.
No doubt. I was at a match where the Canadians were playing. We had the Americans behind us, and I was concussed and had a black eye at the same time. And I was just like, I'm not a huge fan of these Americans right now.
Just don't want to get in a fight though. I can understand.
Dude, I know. I already had a black. I was already so concussed.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a really cool moment. I appreciate that. Number 8, early mornings on the mountain or late night video reviews with athletes. Are you a morning person or an evening?
I'm more evening. Yeah,
Evening.
I'm more relate. And then I guess if I was a racer, I'd be up on the mountains early. But as mogul skier, we tend to wait a little bit for the snow to soften up. So
Oh,
I've always,
sweet.
yeah, I've always kind of like grew up with, not getting out there before 9, 10,
Okay,
and
cool.
getting a little work. Like now, especially, I try to get a little work in before I go out.
Yeah, yeah,
But I like to do a little bit more work, video review, meetings, more like after dinner.
yeah. Cool, cool. Number 9, we're almost there. What's your hidden talent outside of skiing?
Oh, specific hidden talent. Nothing comes to mind specific, but I'm a good sport person. Like I play a lot of different
Oh,
sports and
tennis. You're good at
pretty
tennis.
pretty good level in general. Just growing up with an older brother, we can always battle it out for
Yeah,
my entire youth. So
nice.
became pretty skilled at a lot of things and tried to still play a lot of sport. Just my outcome now as I get older is a little bit more for the sake of staying in shape and having a good time than just winning at all costs. So I've put that side a little bit, that part of the sport a little bit aside now and enjoy myself a lot more. But yeah,
Awesome.
tennis, hockey, soccer, name it, biking, running,
Yeah,
trail, whatever. Like I try to stay quite active.
cool. Okay, last one. And I think what is going to happen throughout this series is this is going to be the same question for everyone because I really, really like it. One word that sums up your motivation to keep going. It's not an easy one.
No, it's not an easy on the spot like that. Uh, Grit. I'll go with that.
Grit.
Yeah,
Nice, nice. Abby's was learning, and I thought that was really cool.
that's really good.
Yeah,
That is really
grit.
good.
Okay, let's get into it. Motivation. Um, you had so much motivation just to become an Olympian. What was that drive there for you?
The drive was, well, at the beginning. I would say was just to keep up with my brother. To be honest,
Okay.
like when you're young and just to fit in his group with his peer, with his friend, I kind of felt like I had to always give my best and always improve and show them that I could keep up with them. So
Okay,
that
cool.
was the big thing on the mountain as well. Like 5 years younger, little brother became a little bit the mascot and just kind of follow around. But that pushed me to improve very quickly, being with more, I guess, with teenagers, but
Yeah.
young adult that were pushing already. So that's probably how it all started. And from there, I guess my values and my motivation system was in place. And I never really had difficulty to be motivated, even through setbacks, like the couple injuries I had, my ACL. I was always able to turn on the switch and yeah, just put all the work that needed to be done. I think just that, go back to my word, just that grit and that motivation to be resilient and to be underdog and to be, I'm a short guy, 5'6", mogul skier, so that kind of fits with balance, and that
Yeah.
worked out pretty well in my career. But um, was never the fittest, the biggest, but I always worked the hardest and learned everything I could. So that's where I got my motivation from.
And when you were I appreciate that, like, having, like, someone there to kind of make you wanna be your better self. Was when you were coming back from the injuries, let's talk about the shoulder injuries, because most people, like, in normal life are like, "Why would you come back? You're hurt. You've done it." Like, you've had 2 shoulder injuries and then an ACL, but you kept coming back. But I think that's just, like, the athlete mentality. But what deep down was in your brain being like, "You're getting up, you're going again." Like, why?
Uh, the biggest thing was always to unlock my potential. It sounds kind of weird, but I always knew my potential was great, especially after 2010. I missed the Olympic in Vancouver by one spot in our men's team. And at that point, I was like, okay, cool. I'm set. This is the path. I know what I got to do. I've learned, and I'm ready. Take that next step, which I kind of did for a couple of years, and started putting myself in a good position. And
Yeah.
then I had my first shoulder surgery in 2012, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, cool. Just a little obstacle, but that's, I haven't quite reached the goal or the potential I see myself or envision myself.
Cool.
Um, and then I had a second surgery, a second injury that led to a second surgery where now I started having doubt, and I wasn't too sure anymore about kind of what was worth if it was worth it at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
from that point on, it's just like, okay, it's definitely not career ending. It's something that I can overcome. And again, kind of like that little voice that just, I saw myself to a certain place and I wouldn't give up until I kind of reached that level. So that really, through the shoulder injuries that kind of leading up to my first game in 2014, that was really kind of the motivation came from there, is that. And I always felt most terrible with my performance when I was training well and I didn't quite reach the potential I had and what I had showcased in training. And that kind of comes down to that performance of the men of our sports.
Yeah.
But to me, is that feeling of being just a little under what I can do, give me that motivation to keep fighting, keep reaching out, keep grinding,
Yeah.
and finding that next step.
Okay, but when you talk about your potential, are you saying, like, you had the goal of the Olympics because you didn't make it, so maybe that's one threshold, but then was it also, like, doing specific tricks in your run or, like, getting a certain time? Like, what were these specific potentials you were looking to gain?
Yeah, it varied. Sometimes it was getting a specific tricks in a run. Sometimes it was just like the technique skiing
Okay.
that I knew was improving in training. But when it came down to like competition, and when the stress was, the nerves were full on, that I couldn't quite do that. And it was like this in mogul, we got the jumping, the skiing, and the speed. And sometimes it's just speed I'm kind of working towards elevating myself, chasing kind of the best in the world, and being able to physically handle the same speed.
Mhm.
So it came in various shape and form, depending on time of the year, kind of where I was throughout the season. But it always came down to like, okay, that's how I'm training. This is where I'm capable of doing, and maybe I'm doing it 1 out of 10 times, but I
Mhm.
know I'm capable of that. And it was always kind of closing that gap. So my lowest level was getting closer to my highest level. Whether my highest level was just improving slowly, while the gap was just closing, where I was more consistent and I was closing on being a little bit tighter to my potential. So that was always, and that's something that I talk a lot with my athlete. Like a lot of young athletes have tremendous potential,
Mhm.
but their low end when they suck is really low. So it's about
Right.
like, how can we close that gap so your consistency and where you can perform at a high level is steady, it's repetitive, it's consistent, and because at the end of the day, the more you do that, that's kind of where your confidence improve as well, and your trust and your mentality of being a performer and a gamer improves a lot by doing that over and over.
Cool. One thing that Abby brought up that I kind of had forgotten just over the last couple years is like having like those short-term goals, which just sounds like game day decisions, which one you're going to focus on, and then also having that long-term goal of like games or getting a medal at a certain event, something like that. Would that like would those be different motivation like thought processes for you?
Yeah, no, I think it's great for sure because everyone wants to go to the Olympic. Anyone
Mhm.
wants to like perform on the highest stage.
Yeah.
It's kind of granted when you're on the national team, when you're like performing at the highest levels of your sport, but it's really easy to be sucked in this mentality or this vision without really knowing all the steps you in the
Mhm.
journey that leads you to there. And we forget sometimes that for a one special moment in a career, whether it's a podium finish, whether it's a world record, whatever it is,
Mhm.
there's so many hours, and I don't want to
Yeah.
pinpoint the 10,000 hour rule, but there's
Yeah.
been so much sweat and tears and anger and joy, and I mean, it's such a roller coaster. So if you're not able to really enjoy that process and set yourself like mini goals, short-term
Mhm.
goals,
Mhm.
then you're gonna find it very difficult because whenever you're gonna find like an obstacle or something that throw you down, for sure you're gonna start giving up and having those dark those mental breakdown.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I definitely love the taking time, and I do that quite a bit with my athlete, taking time to sit down. And every training camp we got, even like with some almost on a daily basis, what are we trying to achieve here? How can we be that 1% better, and make sure that motivation stay very sparked and very engaged, and you do things with intention. You're not
Mhm.
just going through the process and going to bed with like, what did I do today, but you can actually take something away every given day. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's super important because the improvement, and when you're on the national team at the highest level,
Yeah.
the improvement is slow.
Mhm.
The changes are minimal, but at the end of the day, those mini goals help you stay focused. So when you look back a year ago where you were, you can probably optimistically say like, okay, amazing, like these are the step, and I'm a more mature, more experienced, and
Yeah.
more, I guess, technical athlete as well.
So would you say that after your retirement, if you've reflected back, were you like, yeah, I left on my own accord. I achieved the level that I wanted?
I think I did most time.
Mhm.
um, there's no regrets, but I wish I would have been a bit more consistent in some of the big events.
Yeah.
My Olympic experiences are fantastic on so many level, but my
Yeah.
performance always left me a little bitter.
Right.
Um, in 2014, it's just I was competing very well through the first rounds qualification final, and when it came into like more the medal rounds, I screwed up my run, and that was kind of it. So I ended up finishing ninth, which was a bit lower than I knew I could do. And in
Mhm.
2018 in Pyeongchang, well, my knee kind of like screwed me a month before the Olympics, where I had to reassess reassess my goal and
Okay.
what I was able to actually do
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
So I was very proud of my performance, but not necessarily the result I wanted. But looking back, I ended up my career on my terms. So I came back from my knee injury, competed an extra year in 2019, where I could kind of go around the world one more time with my teammates,
Yeah.
with the staff. Lots of places, as you know, we kind of go back to the same place, same venue, so you see
Mhm.
similar faces. And once, like me, you've been on the Walk Up Tour for over 10 years. It was nice to kind of go around the world one more time and just
Yeah.
kind of like take a second to reflect, but thank everyone that had done fantastic work on our venues, but also just I've been good friends, and
Yeah.
so I really enjoyed that kind of final lap I did, and I actually didn't put too much pressure on performance, but I wanted to be healthy, and I still wanted to be, competitive at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I left feeling great about where I was mentally and physically, and I left because I was just ready at that point as well.
Yeah, and not everyone gets to do that, and that's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up, your knee injury again because, I think with motivation comes adapting to your goals. Anything can be put on the roller coaster of life that we're kind of living, and sometimes yes, like unlocking your total potential that you've always wanted can just it has to be brought down a notch if you come with an injury. And I love that you stated that just before this. So thank you for acknowledging that. It's it's not always an easy thing to do when you're an athlete, I would say.
No, and freak like knee injuries in mogul skiing and in all like winter sport is just it's almost your ticket of entrance just to get to play. It's almost like everyone gets through that at some point. The
Yeah,
few that don't, lucky, lucky them.
totally.
It's good, but when you do, it's also an experience, and it's also something that you can done well with the good support staff and a good team around you with the right mindset. It's something that enrich your journey as well, and brings you to another level in terms of maturity. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of athletes that say like, oh, it's a blessing and a curse, right?
Totally.
Like you wish you didn't go through it, but when you've done the process over a year or two, then you know how much stronger you are mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So I don't regret. I mean, maybe I will when I'm 50 years old, and,
I know my
God
body just
forbid,
hurts now.
but it was something that I had to deal with, and I think I did pretty well. And it's something that brought so much positivity at the
Mhm.
end of the day, just in my mindset and how I approach situation, and when I get thrown down, and when I get doubts, and I reflect back on what I overcame and
Yeah,
the way I did, and that gives me a lot of motivation and energy to
totally.
move forward. And yeah.
Would that would you say, like, I don't wanna put words in your mouth, but when I was injured, I was like, "Oh, I really love sport and I need it back in my life." Like, there's just no if, and, or but whether it's going to happen, it's going to happen. That was my story, as to how I came back, and I know that was probably, like, a little voice in my head just being like a switch turned on of acknowledgement that, like, sport was so important to me. Was there anything like that? Like, did you feel like because it was taken away from you, you wanted it maybe a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, with the shoulders when I was younger, absolutely.
Okay.
With the knee, because I was towards the end of my career, at that point, it was just like I wish I do everything in my power so I can keep doing sport my entire life. It was more
Yes. Same.
that stressed me. The mogul part was like, okay, I went to the games again.
Okay.
That was pretty tremendous. I'll try to ski one more year, but we'll see if it works. I came
Yeah.
in more relaxed about it all. I just
Uh-huh.
was more stressed about. I mean, it just need sport in my life. But
Yeah.
but with the shoulder, I was still so young, and it's so much I wanted to do and accomplish, and it definitely felt like someone was taking something from me. And the
Okay.
hardest thing was watching my teammates just so kind
Mhm.
of going at it and competing, and it's like, why me? Like, why am I? It's always the questions like, why is it happening to me, and why am I not the one out there just playing competing with my teammates? So
Mhm.
that really gives you a sense of lust in a sense, but that's
Mhm.
also give you on the other end a sense of like, okay, well, I'm gonna really do everything I can to get back to that level, as you
Mhm.
mentioned. And that's very powerful. It's just that constant yin and yang, that little battle, the devil and the angel in your head of
Yeah.
like why me, and then starting to like well, not necessarily regret, but just starting to just be bummed on yourself. And
Yeah.
then when you're able to start kind of doing that mental switch, and being okay, let's get back to work, and let's get back on the slope and do everything in my power, then you come in with a place of a rebirth almost. Like you come in so much stronger at the
Right?
end. Mm.
I totally agree. Okay, I want to switch gears into why the heck are you coaching now? Like, what motivated that? Because you
Right.
were on
Yes.
snow. You're in ski boots for 10 years on the national team, and now you've decided to do this and be in ski boots and out in the cold.
Yeah.
Just less movement, I would say now, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. What the hell am I doing?
No,
No, I
it's like
mean,
no, it's amazing. I think it's amazing, but I'm just like thinking of like just like traveling like the world again, like you're not sick of that. You is it the motivation of like making that next generation the best that they can be? Because I mean, you're the perfect person for it.
well, thank you. I mean, there's always been a couple things to that decision. The first one was always to be as active as I could for as long as I could. So
Okay.
nothing really tempted me or interested me in going more towards a path of school
Yeah.
or get a 9 to 5
Hmm.
kind of type
Doesn't work
job,
well for athletes, does it?
sitting behind an office, a desk, or whatever. I mean, it wasn't something. I still needed to be on the ground, hands down. I needed to be with people.
Mhm.
So that was very something important to me. And throughout my career, I had study in school, so I was done with my degree. I had a lot of experience with coaching at different level, whether it was in Whistler at Momentum Ski Camp for a couple of summers, whether it's
Mhm.
I did 1 year back in Stoneham when I hurt my shoulder, so I had to take 1 year off from competition. So I coach here.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of different experience at different level, and I
Yeah.
knew I loved the passion, and I love the drive, and I love working with athletes.
Okay.
I was very interested as well on like giving back and sharing a lot of the knowledge. So that's very classic. We hear that all the time. But
Yeah.
I had great coaches throughout my career, mostly, and a couple
Mhm.
that were good, but I didn't like certain things that they did. So with all that, I was like, okay, cool. I think I can shape myself to be one of the good coach based on
Okay.
like the things I love, the things I didn't like, and I can really bring that to the table with the athletes. So hopefully they can take that away and have a
Look at
positive
you.
sport experience.
Look at
So
you,
that
like
was
you're like, "I wanna unlock my potential and be the best coach ever."
that's my
It
motivation. See, it follows me
it
everywhere, whether
totally
I'm an athlete
follows
or a
you.
coach.
No, I think
But
that's so cool.
and selfishly, the last thing, and that's gonna sound funny, but I'm transparent and I'm not hiding from it. But the lifestyle is pretty good.
Yeah.
I get to be on the mountains quite often. I get a lot of flexibility with the work. When we're training, when we're in camp, it's 7 days a week, 24/7. You're hands down nonstop. So grinding, it's tough. It's exhausting at times, but
Yeah.
very rewarding. But
Yeah.
when I have time at home, I have a lot of time to pursue other interests and projects. So the flexibility in the work,
Mhm.
and like a day like today, I worked this morning, but I went to the gym and I work out with the athletes.
Yeah.
So sometimes those bits of the work, yeah, are pretty fun as well and keep me in good spirit and good shape. So
That's so cool.
selfishly, that's also pretty fun for me. And the travel, you get used to it. You know a fair deal of it. And
Yeah.
the one thing I love coaching the next generation team and the development part of the Canadian team is that we mostly stay around North America, at least
Okay.
during the season. So I don't really go overseas unless we're training in the summertime and chasing snow. But I don't get to do those crazy run of Japan, Kazakhstan, France,
Yeah.
Sweden, and you end up kind of like going looping the world, and it's very grinding. It's tough on the jet lag and all that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I stay a little bit more North America, a little easier, closer to home. So I think
Cool.
I have the best position.
Don't tell anyone. Shh. No, like it's funny because like most people would hear about the intensity of that job, and as you said, like some days it's like game on 7 days a week, like just nonstop, and they'd be like, "I'm out." I mean,
Yeah.
it's I think it's such a great transition for an athlete to become a coach, and is that exactly what you said, like, you've learned from all different coaches and get to pull things and make things better, and I'm sure all the athletes are s stoked to have someone that's been there, done that as well, which is nice.
No, it's nice. It's for sure. Like the experience I got, those are great stories for road trips and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it brings a little bit more authenticity as well to the guy that's coaching them. And for some of them, they know me obviously because they're on the national team, so they're not that young,
Yeah.
where they only know Mick Kingsbury, for example. But some of them know a little bit what I went through in my career. So it's there's also that link of someone that they maybe at inspiration from
Yeah.
and look up to. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I've got all those stories, those tips that I've been through, or I can provide and I can share, that makes the relation really trustworthy and authentic and real. So
Yeah.
it takes a bit of time and adaptation, but I think I build a good proximity with the athletes where we have a good time, we have trust, and then we have anything and everything really to be able to perform pretty well.
For
But
sure.
I'd say I didn't jump like on the wagon just like that
Mhm.
on the national team. I went to Colorado for a couple of years,
Yeah.
where I coached a bit more in a club, performing club, like one of the great one in the U.S. But it
I
was
remember
nice to
that.
take a step back and get away from Canada, the only system I truly knew. Go see
Mhm.
what was done elsewhere, work with different people that I didn't know, work in English as well, which was great for someone from Quebec like me,
Mhm.
and learn a ton. And obviously, as you know, that window when I retired 2019 and before I came back to Canadian team in 2022, there was COVID. And
Yeah.
COVID was like, to me, I always say it was like learning coaching on steroid. It was just like you had to I had to do everything and anything. We had to go to be our own little family. There was so
Yeah.
much unpredictability. There was so much things, curveballs to deal with from all over the places. So that was rich. That was stressful at time, but that was such a good experience, and that was really awesome. Where yeah, I needed to bring everything I had learned as an athlete, and whether I was an expert or not, I was just, this is how we got to try to do it, and let's
Yeah.
learn and go with it. So
Game
super fun.
on.
Yeah, super fun.
It's so cool. It's so awesome to hear. I think also for the listeners, just yeah, nothing happens right away. You're not like, boom, I'm a national team coach. It just takes a lot. And the fact that you've coached in so many different places along the way. And I think that I hope that you're sharing that with the athletes too, because a lot of like I coached at snowboard camp for years down in the States. And I thought that was such a great perspective. And like you get to learn so much and learn from your peers as well. Um, but again, that came with like the motivation because I wanted to be on snow as much as possible. And so
Yeah,
there's different ways to make your kind of dreams and like your potential come true in different avenues. You just kind of have to sometimes think outside the box or like be different from other people and be ready to grow, which I think is
yeah.
what you're saying happened in Colorado. You're like, I
Oh
grew a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. And in such a different world, like being an athlete is your everything's around you. You got
Mhm.
to do everything that needs to be done for you to be as best prepared as you can.
Mhm.
And then being a coach is being as best prepared as you can to help out everyone else. So you need different perspective.
Yeah.
You need to work with different type of athletes. You need to be more of a listener. You need to be very present. Like, all that brings tons of perspective from all direction. And I think I needed to get away from Canada to
Yeah.
to make sure I didn't know the people, make sure I didn't know the system, how they were doing things,
Yeah.
being uncertain about ways they were doing things, being uncertain
Mhm.
about ways I was coaching, but having a lot of time and this great opportunity to reflect as well, to
Yeah.
collect all the information. So it just, yeah, it reinforced some of my abilities, some of my potential. And when I came back in 2022 with the Canadian team, I was ready to take on the role, and that created that little separation as well with my previous teammates, with some of my coaches.
Right.
That little 3 4 year gap
Mhm.
was just nice to have a little bit more skill to
Mhm.
myself and enrich myself in that way. So very great experience all in all, tons of
Yeah.
good perspective. And after that, I was ready to help the right team, which
Okay,
yeah,
I have one
I
more.
help the right country.
No doubt. I have one more question. Um, now that you are a coach, I mean, I can only imagine the pride that you have for your athletes and the roller coaster of like challenges that come along with that. But my question is, what what makes you probably smile and the most proud the most of your athletes? Would it be like them learning something new, getting on the podium, or just a PB, personal best? All of
What
the
brings
above.
me, all the above, certainly. I think what brings me the most joy, or makes me smile, to put it in your word, it's probably when an athlete doubt himself or herself to a point of like tears, or to a point of like emotional, you know,
Joy.
explosion. Like there's too much going on,
Okay.
and then
In a good way.
we in a good way, or good or bad, like it's just when an athlete doubts, and it creates this, frustration, or whatever,
Okay.
and then we kind of go through a process together, and we learn together, and on a given competition, just overcome that and overperform, or perform to what I know the
Yeah.
athlete's capable of, but the athlete didn't really know or didn't believe it.
Okay.
That is probably the most satisfying moment.
Oh, my
And it
heart's like
doesn't
in
have
my
to
throat
be
right now. I love
it
that.
doesn't have to be a PB, doesn't have to be like winning the event or anything like that. It just has to be, you think you can do it to your core, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you can, and these are the reason why. And we chat, we go through a routine and all that, and boom, it happens. This unlocks so much out of an athlete, and those
Yes,
are
it
like
does.
breakthrough moments, and they're very, very special.
You just hit the nail, like, that just that brought back memory for me when I was coming back from my injury and I wanted to try the 900, the trick that took me out, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh," in my head when you were talking, I was like, "No, no, he's talking about, like, happy moments," and you're like, "Happy or sad or, like, frustrated," and I was like, "Oh, I know that feeling," and that is,
yeah,
like, a breakthrough moment where, like, I cried, I was so mad, but I knew I could do it, so you're kind of, like, unlocking that next level of, like, Mario Brothers, that you
yeah. No,
can
it feels
and you will, and that is such a good thing to bring up. I love it.
it feels so good. Yeah, it's just, you feel stuck, and you feel like you're, even like you're stepping back to some degree, and then boom, there's this moment that helps you level up and get to
It's so
that next level. Whether you'll stay there, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
that moment is very meaningful,
And how do you see that as
and
a how do
can
you see that
change.
as a coach? Like, such a different like, I've only been in it, and felt those
Yeah,
emotions. Like, do you read your athletes, like, so well that you're like, "Oh, it's happening?"
most of them, yes. Yeah,
You
most of them, yes, because we spend so much time, so I together, that I end up knowing pretty well their little tendency, and what's, so like how they behaves, and stuff like that. Like I know someone will cry if they're scared. I'll know someone will stop talking to me if th're scared. Like they all have their ways
Yeah.
of dealing with their emotion, and so for me it's really to figure out kind of how they all do it separately,
No
that
doubt.
when I
Yeah.
have the moment one on one with them, when I have those special moments that I can really target, this is what I
Mhm.
need to do with that one. This is what I need to do with that one.
Yeah.
Whether it's challenge them, whether it's listen to them, whether it's, however it can kind of like look, but you kind of see it when there start to be a change in behavior, and you
Mhm.
kind of start seeing it
I like that.
when
Yeah.
when there's all, and not that I like the I told you so moment. It's not the reason why I do that, but
Yeah.
I love when there's that process of athletes doubt, coaches give a couple cue and tip,
Yeah.
athlete doesn't trust it, doesn't really implement it,
Totally.
so you repeat, and then you kind of find other ways. You kind of like do a bit of an inverse psychology, where you
Yeah.
it comes from you, but you try to make sure the athlete, it's coming from them at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So they say, well, I tried that, and you're like, man, I've been telling you that for weeks or whatever. And then so that moment is very constructive in a sense where the athletes become autonomous, like it becomes self-coaching, like
Yeah.
self-coaching himself, and it
Yeah.
becomes like, all those tools become very productive and help them become a high level athletes. So I,
Totally.
I
Oh my
love
gosh.
that, and it create like some moments, that those breakthrough moments that, again, the athlete didn't really think he could do that or get to
Yeah.
that level. Because sometimes it's when you've been through a moment, when you've been through Olympics and highest stage, and you've won World Cups, and you kind of know to some extent the feeling and
Yeah.
how you got there. Well,
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. So an athlete that's young and
Totally.
is growing,
Yeah.
he's as good as he thinks he is, or he's as far as he has been so far.
Yeah.
So for you to unlock and help him get to that next level, it's always going into the unknown. It's
It's so
always
cool.
something new. So you got to be you got to be part of that, and depending if you drill some cues and some tips, and
Yeah.
it's very kind of one way street, that can be fine at times. But sometimes you got to let open that gate as well, so the athletes become a bit more autonomous and independent.
Yeah.
And some so it's a mix of depending on the moment, depending on like kind of what you're reading, body language of your athlete and all that. So
Mhm.
that dynamic is I talk about it very passionately. Like that dynamic is something that I find super special, that I really really enjoyed, and I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do when I retired, because you are so selfish as an athlete, and for good
Yeah.
reason. Great
Yeah.
athletes are doing what's best for them, and they don't care about the
Mhm.
noise and the distraction. But the
100%.
coach is the opposite. You got to be very aware of the noise and distraction, so
Mhm.
you pick up kind of what you need to help provide for single athletes, but provide for your team as well in general. So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that challenge, or that bit of my
Yeah.
coaching career so far.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing all these different aspects. You've had such a robust career in being an athlete and now being a coach. It's such a cool journey to watch. Um, I'm gonna just highlight some of the takeaways that I took from this podcast. So I really enjoyed your one coaching, like your one sentence advice is just trust yourself. And I think that goes to
Yeah.
anyone out there, like trust yourself. That's so important. You use the word grit. I think that comes with any injury that any athlete has to overcome. You've got to really dig deep to get in there. And then there's just this huge theme of unlocking your potential, whether it's you as an athlete or you unlocking the potential of your other athletes. And I just that last little bit of understanding the behaviors of athletes and it just really like brought up like so much for me in the sense of being an athlete and having those feelings of like that is the motivation and those are the frustrations and behaviors that come out in that time. And I think we can't belittle those emotions that come out because they're so important, especially when it comes to sport and drive and passion and like getting to unlock your potential, like you said, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so awesome. I just had so much fun with this series so far. It's funny because Abby, her word was learning. She wanted to keep learning. And she, as an athlete, looked for her teammates for motivation. So
Love
it's
that.
it's it's cool to just get different vibes on what everyone is into. So Phil, thank you so much for dropping in. Where can people find you online if they want to follow all your travels and where you're at?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Instagram is the vibe these days. So Phil Marquis, pretty simple. I think that's where I post the most,
Okay.
and that's pretty much it. Honestly, the rest is not important. But Instagram, I still post a little bit about my team and what we're doing. So
Cool.
it's always some fun things out there.
And I want to say thank you for all of the rest that you do in your volunteer work, sitting, as I mentioned earlier, as chair of the Athletes Commission of the Canadian Olympic Committee. It is no small feat because that is volunteer, and we appreciate everything that you're doing to make sport better in Canada.
Well, thanks. I mean, I got a great team of fellow Olympians with me that helped tremendously, and then it's super inspiring and super fun as well as a side gig. And again, just doing it for the next generation of athletes, so they have a wicked time like we did.
Yeah, no doubt. Awesome. Thanks, Phil, for dropping in.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for dropping in today. You can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music and my mom for the intro voice.